talking about our identity, I think that's where the real work actually is. Because it isn't fixed. It's not just who you are and that's that. It's something that evolves over time. Welcome to Reclaim Your Voice, a podcast for women in business who are ready to lead with more clarity, more ownership, and more confidence in who they already are. I'm Savanna Madden, confidence coach, public speaker, and the founder of award-winning theatre school Madden Theatre Arts. This is not about becoming someone new, it's about returning to your voice and leading in a way that feels aligned. Here we explore confidence, leadership, visibility, business growth, and the real shifts that happen as you evolve. If you know you're capable of more, you're in the right place. This is Reclaim Your Voice. Hi there, welcome back to the show. It's just a solo ep from me today, and I'm just really excited to share some musings and some thoughts and feelings that have been ruminating for me recently. And I want to talk to you today about something that I think is one of the, I guess I want to call it slightly underrated, but also it gets bandied about quite a bit. So a bit of an oxymoron there, two sort of sides to the coin. But I think that it can be quite an underrated part of growing a business or growing businesses. And it's not strategy and it's not visibility, it's not systems, although those are very important and we might touch on those. The thing I want to talk about today is identity, and specifically it's what happens to your identity as your business grows beyond the version that you started with and beyond the version of you that built it. So I just want to start a little bit with my own experience, because this isn't something I just talk about with my clients. I've actually lived it. I have been that person. And if you've grown a business, I'm sure you'll be in the same boat. But I built my business, my first one, my theatre school, from the ground up. And for a long time, it worked really well, just as it was with me running everything. But like many businesses, it hit a bit of a ceiling and it actually grew quicker than I could keep control of, which of course is not a bad problem to have. Like, what a great problem. Your business is growing, it's all going really well, but I just couldn't keep up by myself. So when I say I hit a ceiling, it was a capacity ceiling, because I was trading time for money and I couldn't physically take on any more clients because I had run out of time. And because my theatre school business is predominantly for young people, you're limited to weekends and after school, because the majority of the students in our cohort go to state or private school education. They're not homeschooled. And even if they were homeschooled, they might not have availability during the day because they'd be doing some academic and vocational studies. So I brought in my first coach to work alongside me, and I didn't anticipate that more clients plus an additional person might mean more work in the back end, more admin, more things going on behind the scenes, not less. I thought, great, bring in a new coach. They'll take that part of the work off my hands. But of course, then we grew again. More students came in, more clients came in, more admin to do. I also didn't have all of the systems in place at the time that I needed. So then, of course, I needed a VA, somebody to take care of all of this. And the honest truth is, I should have brought both of them in sooner. I was always one step behind where my business actually needed to be, rather than one step ahead. And that gap between where the business was and where I was in my own identity as its leader, well, that's what I want to talk about today. So in that world of performing arts, we tend to use the title or word, principal rather than CEO. But whatever word you use to be the head honcho, the person in charge of the business, the shift I'm describing is the same. At some point, your business asks you to grow into a different version of yourself. And that's not a completely new person, not something radical or unrecognizable. I don't know, maybe it might be, but that's not the shift I'm talking about right now. Just an evolved version of who you already are. And there's a phase a lot of founders find themselves in, and I call that the messy middle. I'm sure lots of people will hard relate to that term. You might find yourself in the messy middle more than once in your business career as well. You're past the beginning. You've proved your idea works. People pay you. They trust you. They come back, but something feels a bit off. And you're still across everything. You're still the one holding it all together. My favorite saying, wearing all the hats. And even though somewhere that this isn't quite right anymore. It's really hard to know what to do differently. And that's not a failure. That's just what it looks like when a business grows faster than the identity of the person leading it has a chance to catch up. And I want you to hear this very, very clearly. Everything you're feeling in that stage is completely normal. So let's talk about identity. Identity and CEO are both words that I think just get thrown about quite a lot, but I can't think of any words that are better to describe either of them. So if you've got any ideas, then please feel free to send me a message with your thoughts, because talking about our identity, I think that's where the real work actually is. Because it isn't fixed. It's not just who you are and that's that. It's something that evolves over time, depending on what season you're in, what phase you're in. And the leader that your business is ready for right now, well, they already exist inside you. You're just in the process of growing into them. And I've worked with a client recently who came to me at a real sort of similar point to what I'm just describing. Their business had started, it was doing well, there was some growth. They are really good at what they do, super talented, established, and had some absolutely incredible results to show for what they were providing. But they were still operating like they were when they very first started, doing everything, being everywhere, finding it hard to trust that things would be okay if they handed a job over to somebody else. And what we've worked on wasn't reinvention, it was evolution, helping their identity catch up with where they are in their business now, where their business was, and where their business is going to go. And watching that shift happen, watching them start to lead rather than just do, that's honestly one of the most powerful things that I get to witness in my work, because you can't run a bigger business with more growth or scaling it more the same way that you ran a smaller one. Something has to change. There may be loads of other components, but obviously we're just focusing on identity today. And that something is usually you, not in a horrible way, not in a painful way, but in the most natural way, because you have to be the one that grows into it. And I just think back to what I was like when I first started out in business. And because I'm from a performing arts background, you train as a performer, you work as a performer, and then some people start their own businesses but haven't got any business knowledge at all or any experience. And I did have experience running other theatre schools and other studios, but they were all other people's businesses. So there was a certain amount of expertise that I had, but not all of it. So I always just say that I didn't bring people in quick enough and I didn't get a coach quick enough. So in practice, this shift is often maybe a bit more subtle than people expect. So it's noticing when you're doing something out of habit or because it feels safer rather than because it's genuinely the best use of you. So many of my clients, and I was definitely one of these people, saying it's just so much quicker if I do it myself. But what you have to weigh up is, yes, this time it might be quicker to do it yourself, but what about the 10 other times that you have to do that? If you just pass that over to somebody else to do that role, then in the long run, you're going to save yourself lots of time because somebody else is going to be doing it and they'll be able to do it at a quicker rate if you pick the correct person. So it's making decisions from where you're going rather than where you've been. And it's starting to trust your own voice as well in rooms where you've been making yourself maybe a little smaller than you need to be. And of course, this podcast is called Reclaim Your Voice. And that voice piece matters more than people realize. And when your identity hasn't quite caught up with your business, your voice often reflects that. So you over-explain things, you wait for permission, you stop yourself from saying what you actually want to say. And also, it's your business, so you've already got permission. You don't need to wait for it or ask for it. And when the identity evolves, the voice follows and you start to speak like someone who knows their own value, because they do, because you do. And I'm going to say something a bit cheesy now, but identity isn't a destination. It's something that you keep growing into. But it's true, right? It's an ever evolving thing. So where you are right now in your business, you're not going to be here in a few years' time, are you? Because, well, I really hope not, because that's not growth then, is it? Because identity is all about growing. It's something you're going to grow into as your business grows. So here's what I want to leave you with today. Think about where your business is right now and ask yourself honestly, is the way I'm showing up still matching where this is going? Not where it started. So where it's going. What are your big visions and goals for your business this year, in the next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? Because the next version of you is already there. They're just waiting for you to catch up. So if this resonated with you and you want to explore your own identity evolution a little bit more deeply, this is one of the components that I work on inside my container, Reclaim Your Voice. And the I in my voice framework is the part that stands for identity. And it's often where the most powerful shifts happen. And you can find out more by getting in touch with me on Instagram. I am there at I am Savanna Madden, and I love chatting to people in my DMs. So come and have a conversation with me. But until next time, keep showing up, keep grounded, and keep doing the work that lights you up. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Reclaim Your Voice. If today's conversation resonated, then head to the show notes where you'll find my free audio gift. And if this episode helped you in any way, it would mean so much if you shared it, rated, or reviewed the show. That support helps these conversations reach the people who really need them. You can also watch the full episode on YouTube. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you soon.